Hello and welcome back to Max Reading Magic, the channel where we talk about the incredible ways that we can get people we care about excited about reading. Now, if you're clicking on this, you probably believe that I have some sort of magic that I can share with you, and given that my job interview to become Hufflepuff House Quidditch coach has once again failed, it's time for me to talk about a piece of magic that I actually am good at, and that's the magic of read-alouds. So today, I want to talk about read-alouds. I want to talk about why they work and how you can do it better. Let's start by talking about why they work. If you're like me, you might have come of age at a time when teachers gave you the books and expected that you would do the reading at home and then come in to have the discussions and the essays and the tests in class. That ship has sailed. Students read in a very different way than they did back when I was a kid. They read very differently than they did 20 years ago when I started teaching. They read differently, and that's something that we as teachers get to adjust to. If you're a parent and not a teacher, you still need to adjust to how they read, and asking them to go to their room and sit quietly to read isn't going to happen. So instead, read-alouds are definitely something that's valuable. On top of which, there are actually great literacy theories that back up the notion that you're going to want to have some measure of both comprehension and fluency. This is Scarborough's rope. It talks through the notion that what we comprehend and understand based on the vocabulary and the content of the article is one part of our full understanding, but we have to intertwine that with our fluency in words, the automaticity with which you read a word, know what it means, and make the connection. These two pieces go together. So when you're in a classroom or when you're at home, it's one thing just to say, what did we read? It's another thing to have people really understand what it sounds like, what it means, and how you can make the same thing happen for yourself. Audiobooks are a common thing that's talked about. There's a great study from Harvard University talking through how audiobooks are a form of reading, how they can help education, how they can be beneficial to young people. But while audiobooks are great and very valuable for books that kids want to read on their own, in class, read-alouds are incredible because they allow a greater degree of immediacy. You're able to see what students might understand or not understand and react to it in real time. If kids can do the reading, that's great. But with so many kids self-conscious about how they are, you as the adult can step up and give them the example. When you read fluently, they hear it fluently, and they get a greater understanding and appreciation for the story. Let's say that I've convinced you that read-alouds are in fact magic, but the next step is to make them truly sing, is to do them really well. How do you do it well? Number one, speed. If you're like me, you have a limited amount of time, and so you listen to a lot of podcasts or books or radio channels at 1.25 speed, or chipmunk speed if you go even faster. When that's the case, you have to know for yourself that you need to slow down. I don't do a great example of it when I'm super excited because I think reading is magic. I get really excited when I'm talking about these things. But I know that I need to slow down when I read aloud to others. The second thing you need to do is know the text. If you teach multiple times a day in several sections, by the fourth class that you're teaching, you're going to know the text that you're reading really well. But those first classes benefit from it too. I don't mean that you should stay at home and stay up late practicing how you're going to read aloud. I just mean you should know the book. You should know the text. If you don't, be quick on your feet to identify the things that are really important. You need to be able to see where there are times for pauses, whether that's a comma, a period, or the beginning of a new paragraph. By showing that change, kids are able to follow along with the reading more effectively. And you're teaching them those little pieces of grammar that might just get lodged in their brains about, I want there to be a pause. I'm not just going to put ... I'm going to use a comma or a period, or I'm going to start a new paragraph. It might not be perfectly right by Strunk and White, but they'll be getting there a little bit closer when they see that every punctuation mark has an effect on how we sound. The final thing to talk about is my favorite, voices. I love doing voices in read-alouds. I have a lot of fun doing it because I've been doing it for a long time. And I know other teachers who are hesitant to do any of it because they don't think they can do multiple voices. That's understandable, but believe me, you can and you should. Students often that I find are struggling with reading struggle with reading because they don't necessarily tell when different characters are speaking. The quotation marks don't have the same meaning to kids these days as it does to people who are used to reading books. And it's hard to look for those ID tags at the end of sentences to find out who it is who's saying what. So instead, you get to give them a guide to it by giving them voices that match with different characters. You really don't need more than maybe 5 at a push, because most scenes involve 2 or 3 characters talking to each other, and you might need 1 or 2 others for a short conversation right after. All you need to do 5 different voices that are usable for lots of different characters is think about where your voice is placed. It seems counterintuitive if you haven't done vocal study. If you're a singer, an actor, you know this already. If you're not, take a second and try to be extra mindful about how you're speaking. Wherever you speak naturally is your base neutral voice. Call it your level 0. This is the basic. This is what you're going to use for your narrator, for your protagonist, for the main character who's going to carry the bulk of the story. Now you can think about bringing your voice up just a little bit. This is the natural. Now you're going to bring it up to try to going behind your eyes. Feel the air go up to your eyes and then come down. My voice has changed. It's more nasal now. It comes out of here. And that's fine, because this is a great voice for a secondary antagonist. Someone who's just kind of annoying, a little bit over the top, maybe a bit of a pedant. Actually, kids, you'll find that the right answer's on page 394. You can go up 1 more level, all the way up to the top of your head. This is your Mickey Mouse voice, or your number 2. Number 2? Number 1, neutral. Neutral. Number 1. Number 2. Number 2's great for innocent people, little kids who don't know any better, and sometimes small creatures and woodland fairies and the like. Oh no, golly gee, what are we gonna do? This becomes a great voice for the innocent or anybody who might be in trouble. Then you've got yourself 2 strong voices. So it's good to be ready to go down as well as up. So you can go down. If this is neutral, coming down brings you closer to your chest. This is your strong protagonist voice, the hero, the person who's brave and daring and ready to step up for the next challenge. If it comes from the chest, it's something that says bold and proud. This is -1. And then if you go down farther, you lower the pitch because you can feel the air expanding in your belly. When it's down here, you are at your -2. This is the deep set voice. Whichever way you go, whether they are kind and beneficent or dark and sinister, the -2 voice gives you what you need for a strong character. -2, -1, neutral. Neutral, -1, -2. With those 5 voices, you're able to cover a wide range of things. If I were to tell a story with a totally monotone voice, it might be interesting to people, but it might not be something that they can fully comprehend. For instance, once upon a time there was a little woodland creature who was beset upon by a giant ogre and his little goblin friend. "Oh no, help me," said the little woodland creature. "Never," said the giant ogre. "Give me your lunch money now or I'll pound you into dust." "Yeah, you tell him, boss," said the little goblin. Suddenly, out stepped a dark sorceress mage, who used her magical powers to say, "I will cast a spell to turn you into hippopotami." And, with a blink of her eyes, she did. And the giant ogre hippopotami went, "No, I do not like this at all," and scampered off into the forest, while the runty little goblin hippopotami cried for his mommy. The little woodland creature said, "Thank you, Dark Sorceress Mage," and the Dark Sorceress Mage said, "You're welcome." Here's that same story-ish, because I can't remember the words I'm making up off the top of my head, again, but this time with those 5 voices. Once upon a time, there was a little woodland creature who skipped and tromped about the forest, oh so happy. But it was beset upon by a dark and sinister ogre and his little goblin comrade. "Say, you little woodland creature, give me your lunch money or I'll pound you into dust." "Yeah, you tell him, boss." "No, please, won't somebody help me?" When suddenly, from the shadows, stepped a dark sorceress mage, who used her magical powers to step forward and say, "I will save you. You will leave that little woodland creature alone, or I will turn you into hippopotami." And so she did. "Oh no, never! I'm so embarrassed," said the giant ogre hippopotami as he trundled off into the forest. "Oh, mommy," said the little goblin hippopotami as he cried for his mama. "Thank you so much, Dark Sorceress Mage. You truly are a hero." "You're welcome, little goblin," said the Dark Sorceress Mage. The end. Again, with those 2 pieces, you can see a clear difference. It's helpful to have kids see those differences because when they're asked later who did what in the story, they're more likely to catch that the little woodland creature is one person and the dark, sinister ogre is another. When their lines come right next to each other otherwise, and they don't sound any different, it throws things off. If you want me to demonstrate this more fully, you can go ahead and send me a note in the comments below, and I'll record a video talking through any story you want me to do with the change in voices. If you've been liking my content, thank you. Please join the subscription club, and we'll be able to have more people who can hear about it and see it and share it with other people. If you're not liking this account, okay. Weird way to spend your time, bro. But still, give me an idea for how I can improve in the comments below. Thank you for joining me, and I hope your reading is magical.